Get the post also. So,
Yeah, I didn't get that.
well, you're not young enough like me. Can you get John on that one too? Welcome, everybody. We got a lot going on today. We have a bunch of people online I've seen hopping in already. So first thing you got to do is you got to meet some people you don't know. So look around the room. If you're on the internet, look for somebody you don't know, send them a direct message. You have 1 minute. Go.
1 minute. Did you get up? Yeah, I got my name tag. Okay, and your name is? Yes. New, very new, very new. Nice to meet you. I got that.
Like one mutual friend and it's you.
All right.
Exactly. That's cool.
Actually, you can tell. It's not real.
All right, everybody, find your seats because Ms. Haley's gonna tell us what Onward does for us each month, or each week, or each day.
Haley Onward, just your weekly reminder that we do transaction coordination, marketing management, sign running, and closing gift baskets. And that is all.
Very cool. And a reminder, when you see the green lights on up above, that means the recordings or the microphones are picking up everything you say. So help us keep it controlled because otherwise they can't hear out. And it's a ton of people online today. I can't see the actual number over there, but there's a lot of them. So each week we have all of our vendor affiliate partners. And where do we want to start today? Let's start on this side.
Over there.
Who do we have? Is Adam one of the first ones?
Yeah.
Tell us what you are, who you do. Wait a minute.
Come on, this is recorded.
Very awkward here today.
Sorry. Just go for it, Adam. You got it.
So my name is Adam McGrath. I'm an insurance agent with Comparion Insurance Agency, and we always appreciate getting to help your clients with home insurance.
Yay, who else? Oh, did we miss somebody? Sure.
I'm Andy Hefner with U Mortgage, for all your mortgage needs, obviously. We did just get approved for the Rebuild Springfield program, so I don't know if you guys were aware of that. And then we do have a bunch of other FHA, DPA, 100% conventional loan programs, 1% down conventional, but you got a problem, we're happy to help solve it.
Yay, let's go to Garrett.
Hi guys, I'm Garrett Dollins with Meridian Title, where we close deals and open opportunities. I do have exciting news. We have a Harrison, Arkansas office, but we haven't like rolled out a ton of information yet, but we are going into Northwest Arkansas now. So if you guys are out of that area, so we'll be opening soon down there, so.
Awesome. Derek, we're gonna save you for last. Let's go to George.
I'm George with Chose Home Warranty, where we give your clients power to choose.
Yay. No, let's hit Jess.
Jess Bowman, Bowman Insurance Group. We do everything personal lines and commercial insurance, and we would just love to help you guys and your clients and be part of the team. Thanks so much.
And the Gap Gang.
Cindy and Christy. Putting the great in closing services, it's in the name. All throughout the Ozarks to serve you, wherever you need, whatever you need, Gap's got you.
And Legal Land Title.
Hey guys, John Legal Land Title. We're right behind the building here if you can't find us. Check your calendars. We've got a really exciting thing coming up this month in May, the 23rd. We're gonna be doing a training right here. So put that on your calendar if you have time.
And anybody online?
Derek.
Then back to Derek. Okay, see if I saved you for last.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that way you can do the vending.
Hey, being efficient, like we talked about.
Exactly.
Derek Kenny, home loan expert with Mid-Missouri Bank, located right across the parking lot over here, and here for all of your home loan needs.
So if you're new, our vendors and affiliates decided, hey, there's a culture award for agents. They wanted to do one for themselves also. So the Vendi was born, which is, as you can tell, it is Italian. So it's very fancy. It's Fragile. So where does it go this week?
All right, well, yeah, this illustrious trophy, my kids were a little rough on it this week, so. Yeah, it's already twisted, so I'll try to hand it over in one piece here. But a couple weeks ago, had a deal that one of the guys here helped us out with. We were having a hard time getting insurance on the property. So we sent him over to him. He was able to get insurance on it. And not only that, he was able to get the insurance binder to us, I think the same day that the clients contacted him. So I really appreciate the help on that and the speedy process. So this week, the Vindy goes to Adam McGrath.
I can't make any promises.
All right, Shannon, this week is our values.
Our value, God, family, then business.
And I was talking with some agents the other day at another company who've been in it for 20 years. They do about 60 deals a year, and they just said they're tired and worn out. They've worked every day for 20 years. I said, there's a better way to do this. So the fact that we try to go God, family, then business here, it's a whole different way of looking at the way we do real estate.
And if you're struggling with that balance, there's really no balance.
Well, the
but
imbalance.
if you're kind of struggling with that, come see one of us. We'd love to talk through what your day-to-day looks like and how to give you more balance back in your life.
As a guy who did it the wrong way for 19 years and then figured out, oh, this is really a much better way to do it. I'd love to help you. So we want to make people not do the same mistakes we did. So, all right. And we have a culture winner each week. Last week it was Balake Cook. Balake.
All right, so what he had to say is, this person is always one of the first people to arrive on the scene and help if he is able. He's an outstanding example of our Y4C2Ts, and if it isn't a win-win, he looks for a way for it to become one. I've personally seen opportunities where his integrity has shown up and he stood by it. He's committed to helping and understanding his clients. Last year, he found out that an elderly client of his was spending Thanksgiving alone, so he took a few things over there and spent time with her. Anytime you speak with him, you will feel his effort to understand what's important to you. He's one of the best teammates I've ever had the pleasure of working with. You can trust that he will be honest with you, even if it's not exactly what you want to hear. And lastly, he likes finding success through and with others. He would never say any of this about himself and is probably hating hearing every bit of this right now, but I think he's an example of what the award represents. Thank you, Evan Connor.
Yay! Come on up. He gets to keep the Steffes Award, the big statue, for 1 week, and he gets to keep the little one forever. And then he will nominate somebody for next week also. So it is so cool how many people of culture we have in this company.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, speaking of culture, Red Day is coming up. Do we have any Red Day people in here today?
Red Day peeps? Corey, what you got?
Wasn't prepared. No, we're just ready. We need everybody to sign up for what they want to do, whether it's inside or outside, or even possibly making baskets. So
Sign up.
sign up,
Please and thank you.
please.
So do you have to be an agent to do it?
No, you do not.
Do you have to be a Keller Williams person to do it?
No, you do not.
Anybody and everybody can be part of Red Day. Also, your shirts are upstairs if you ordered them. If you didn't, there are a limited supply, so they're still for sale. Nicole has them, correct? And they're $35 each? No. I don't remember what they are. They're affordable, but all the money, since we have so many awesome sponsors on here, all the money goes straight towards the Dream Center. So these are still upstairs. Don't forget to get them. You want to wear red that day. And a badge of honor is to have something happen to your shirt on that day, like get paint on it or a rip in it, or you fall off the roof and there's blood. Well, maybe not that, but that's the goal of the Red Day shirt each year, is to come out with some battle wounds from it. So we're excited to have that. And thank you to all of our people who are on this. Look at all these sponsors on here. This is insane.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, remind Bryant, or remind me to get this to Bryant later.
Real quick, so we found out yesterday that there will be a waiver that you do need to sign before starting Red Day on Thursday. So if you've already signed up, then you'll get an email in your email with the link to go ahead and just fill it out. Make sure that you do. And then the day of, we will have some as well, but please fill it out prior to going, because it's just going to save time in the morning. Okay.
Yep. And will we have some of those up front, like people come by and grab them, or?
I am working on getting a paper copy right now, but
Okay.
it is electronic, so it's super easy to fill out too.
Oh, got it. Okay, cool. Yep, you got to do a waiver. That's my job in church. I stay out the street and wave. Jim, what do we have from the broker side? Uh-oh, he's coming up. That means somebody did something wrong.
Woo! Come on, Jim.
We got fine.
Front and center, boss.
Just a reminder,
Mhm.
on the top of the contract, on the offer page, it has that list of included things. We were informed by an attorney, former judge yesterday, that if propane is in that list, is it in the list?
Yes.
Say yes, it is. Then that means that the seller owns that tank.
So they better be checking if it's leased or owned. They better be asking the question.
Unless,
Otherwise stated, and we're finding out.
you have to, I mean, according to this attorney, which
Remember, we're being recorded.
He said that if it's on that list and it's owned by the seller, unless otherwise noted somewhere. So you're definitely going to have to put excluded, included somewhere. It would obviously be best right there on lines 18 through 20, right? Rather than write the special agreements or 3 months from now, put it in an amendment. So the first question, and I've told this in contract class 27 years in a row, whatever. If you see a propane tank, start asking questions, right? It's kind of like solar panels. You need to know because we got burned really bad yesterday. Not the company itself, but the insurance company, all because of that. I think it was not correct.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, but I want you to be aware of that. I mean, it's really important, because there was a tragic occurrence because of propane and we ended up footing part of the bill on it. And it's just not right. I mean, agents have to do a better job there representing clients when it comes to the propane tanks. Okay? Any questions on that?
You know what, if they go to contract classes on a regular basis, that would really help, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, I've told the attorneys, I said, you know, we have veterans that come to the contract classes on a, you know, not once a month, but they come every once in a while. But the point is that once you hear that once, you shouldn't have to be reminded again. Because again, it was a very expensive lesson for the insurance company and us. And I don't necessarily agree with it. But by God, if they say, you know, it's gonna cost you money, then I agree with it 100%. You just don't wanna have to do that again. So if you see propane in that list, will you see that every time you open a contract?
Every time.
Yes. Then you need to make a decision right then. Is it leased or owned? And if it's owned, it's included with the transaction. And if it's leased, it's not included, it's a leased tank. That's what I would put right there on the excluded line. It's not included, it's a leased tank. Or a propane tank is leased, but make it very clear right then to the buyer and to any attorneys or past judges that read the contract in the future that you dealt with this property. Okay?
4
That's
years
everybody
ago,
always
they cost
happy
about
to see you.
$1,400 and you get to buy one for your client, just an FYI.
Yeah, don't buy them. We've had to do that too. I'd rather buy one than what we went through yesterday.
It goes back to asking questions though, because I actually remember a house I did had an in-ground propane tank that was leased. I'm like, so if they quit, they're gonna come dig it up, but it was a leased tank buried. So always just ask more questions, know everything going into it. Also, at the state meetings last week, they did talk about the fact they're gonna reorganize that part of the contract and make it a little more legible. They're increasing the font of the entire contract. So it's gonna be about 2 pages longer, but it's going to be more legible. So that's, I don't know if that's coming now or after the lawsuit's finished, but it's in the works. All right.
Continuing
Yes.
education, friends. Yeah, so we've got the code for CE Chief where you can get your whole package. And then we do have, I want to remind you, it is a 2-step process. I know we say this all the time, but for those of you who didn't maybe hear the last 10 times I said it, I want you to hear it today. It is a 2-step process, meaning you have to do your continuing ed. And then you have to get on the MREC with your online PIN code that they're going to mail you in a little piece that looks like junk mail. It's not junk mail, friends. Hang on to it. It's a two-part. You can't just do the CE and it's magically done. You have to finish it out. If you have questions on that, come see us.
So you just have to do the classes and you're done.
Nope.
No.
Do the classes and then what?
We're gonna have people ask that, that's right.
Nope, do the classes and then what?
And then get online with your PIN and make sure you're legal. and then double check it.
And pay.
And
And-
here's the
yes.
cheap code. It's right here. KW 1024. You can get all the classes for $48. So make sure you get that.
And Nicole, don't we have something special coming next month with CE?
We do. We are actually bringing the fair housing class, which is the core class requirement for this year. So not just code of ethics. This is the one that is required. It's fair housing. We are bringing the class live down in the training center on May 28th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. I believe, I think it's Jeff Kester actually that's going to be teaching it, but
Oh, cool. Okay.
you can get your credit for CE for that particular class. I do also recommend taking the code of ethics as well, because that will be due in the next couple of years. So make sure that to join us in person, May 28th at 9 a.m.
So it won't be Zoomed, right?
It will not be Zoomed.
It'll be live and in person.
Okay.
Okay, numbers for the week. If you compare them, there's a lot less listings that came in new, a lot more contracts. Every week is just a little up and down right now. Especially the closings were higher, but it was the end of the month. So that's what we always see is it gets up higher at the end of the month, then it bounces back down. But as a market center, we've had a huge last month. So if you hear that the market's slowing down, for some people it is, but if you keep going after it, it's gonna be there because we've got a huge amount of closings that came in, like maybe even a record for April.
It was a lot. It
Yeah.
was wild.
Okay, compared to last year, 390 new listings hit as opposed to 432. We're starting to kind of see a balance because last year was the beginning of this changeover to stuff. And then on number of available listings, it went down slightly from last week, but it's still quite a bit up. And so we'll just keep watching that.
Mhm.
Realtor slides, this is from the board. There's some leadership. If you are interested in leadership, you need to get onto this. We don't spend a lot of time on these slides because you all get this email every Sunday night. If you don't get it, contact the board. You probably hit stop at some point and you're not getting it, but there's a lot of good info in here. Here's the education calendar over at the board. What's next? RPR, half the people use RPR, half the people use CRS. It's just funny how you learn when you got used to it. It has custom pages for your report, so you can make that a little bit more customizable to you. MLS webinar is coming up, just letting you know on that, how Flex MLS subscriptions can elevate your game. If you don't have auto searches going to people, you're not staying in touch with them enough. That's an easy contact to do with them. And GSBR Affiliate Expo, this is where you get to meet all the affiliates and vendors. It is at the Field House this year. It's never been there. If you go around and visit every booth, you get entered in a prize, and it's usually a huge, big prize of some kind. That's a fun day. There's lots of food there. Go to that. Happy hour. Why? Yeah.
What?
Boy,
Oh, help, their YPM's
party after
having a
party.
happy hour.
This is the one slide we wanted to show you that was very interesting. That is the buyers by generation from the last year. Well, actually, July 2022 to June 2023. It's very interesting to see who the buyers are. And if you look at the sellers, it's kind of a flip-flop, but that's kind of interesting there. Oh, sorry.
Also,
Did
do
you get it?
y'all know who the silent generation is?
Okay,
I didn't know this. They're the before the boomers.
they're not
Right?
very silent.
No, I read about it. It's really interesting. But yeah, they just kind of laid low and just.
They just
status
keep doing
quo.
their thing. They're not on socials, all that kind of stuff.
No? Mm-mm.
One day left to April, so let's jump to May. It's gonna be May.
Oh my gosh.
That's why we had that song today. Isn't that fun? Okay, so you can see all the classes. There's all kinds of fun stuff going. Asian Headshots, Red Day in a week or so. But this Friday, which is Trace de Mayo,
Trace de Mayo.
we're doing a Cinco de Mayo party because Cinco is on Sunday. So we're gonna do it here. We have enough food for 3,000 people.
Now,
Okay.
hang on. I'm gonna ask Maria, because I don't think you're right. Maria, what's the info on this?
We have Peaches Tacos Catering and there's enough food for 100 people, so invite, yes.
Okay.
Everyone.
So,
Everyone.
everybody right now, get out your phone. Think of somebody that's an agent somewhere else that doesn't get to party very much. Invite them to this right now. 100,
Good food too, really good food.
Yes.
yeah. And,
Yummy
and
tacos.
we've got 500 tacos that'll be there. Just invite everybody, right? Okay, so that is, and it's gonna be nice weather, so it's gonna be out here underneath the patio. Yes, sir.
Is it at noon or the text yesterday said 11?
Which is it? Because I pulled this from the Facebook page.
Sorry, what was that?
Is it 11?
It's at 11. Sorry.
Is it 11?
Okay.
Yep.
Ignore that right there.
Well, if you come at noon, you're gonna miss everything.
Yeah.
So.
You can get some leftovers. Okay. Let's go to the video.
I want it now, and I ain't never gonna back down. I am no regular citizen. Do you understand what you witnessing? You cannot tell what the difference is. I want it all and I'm winning it.
This has been an amazing experience.
KW Mega Agent Camp.
Mega Camp is a place you need to be.
You have got to understand the truth about real estate. If you do the work, it will happen.
It's local content, deep human connection.
We're going to figure out a business model.
If you're here in this room today and you have not posted that you're at Mega Camp, then shame on you.
That's a throwdown.
So Mega Camp is August 11th through, or 12th through 15th. So if you've gone to family reunion and you felt like, man, I couldn't get to everything, Mega Camp's a totally different setup. It's all on the same stage, it's all there together, you don't miss a thing. And we want to try and get as many people there as possible because we know that going to these events helps change people's lives. So what is it exactly? It is a real estate's leading agent education and training event. It is a lot of moderators, like top speakers we'll have 5 or 6 of our agents usually are speaking there because we're some of the top people in the country. But it is a way to learn how to grow your business. It's not just for mega agents. It's called Mega Camp because it's not average camp. Okay? Any level of production, if you're a brand new person, if you're not, whatever, it is fantastic for you.
Hey, who in this room's been to Mega Agent? Up high, look around.
Oh my God.
Would you recommend going to anybody who hasn't gone?
Absolutely.
What if you could go free? Would that be good? Okay, we're gonna work on that. We got a program coming, but early bird pricing, if you know you're going, the price changes after today. So $6.59 is early bird, then it goes to $7.99, then they have a last chance thing. If you know you're going, save the money, go ahead and get that. Also,
Today.
found some flight things. It sounds like if you go down on Sunday and come back Wednesday afternoonish, you hit everything that's there. They also have fall masterminds on Thursday, but I did find a flight for 5:13 from Springfield, leaves Sunday afternoon, comes back Thursday. But then yesterday I was messing around some and I found one, leave on Sunday, come back late Wednesday, so you wouldn't miss anything, $457. These go up as you get closer to time, so start looking for that.
Fall Masterminds is Thursday?
Fall Masterminds is now Thursday right after it. So once you're there, it's already going. Now, what if you could go free? We know this helps people that are at other places. So we're gonna have a promotion that will be able to get a guest agent that qualifies. We'll have their ticket, their hotel room, and a credit for their airfare. And if you invite them, you will get a free ticket to Mega Camp. If you invite 2 people, we cover your hotel also. We're also working on a shuttle to get down there. So we might do a party bus, and that might be an affordable way to hop on. It's almost the same time involved.
Don't worry, he's not driving.
Yeah. I know where the keys are at Fisk. I can just go in and grab one of them. But by the time you get to an airport 2 hours early, you get to Dallas and get stuck in weather. It is actually sometimes shorter to drive it. It's only about a 7.5 hour drive. So that might be a possibility. We'll have plans for this coming out after Mega Camp, after Red Day. We're going to focus on that first. Okay, this is cool. Nicole, tell us what's new from yesterday.
Yes. So who uses ChatGPT? Thank you. I see your hands. Thank you so much. It is life-changing. So Keller Williams has created their own ChatGPT within KW Command. It is called Quick. So Mike's going to do a little live demo here. But this is really awesome for your business. Now, just a reminder, this is a soft launch. They're going to start releasing more information and also some updates to it that is going to start coming on May 8th. So just know that it's still learning, just like anything else, but it is getting better and better, and it will be linking to help articles and things like that so that you can grab those later on.
And it's just internally on KW material. So I just typed in, what's the best way to do open houses? Let's see what it tells me. So in other words, it's not going to pull from all around the interworld. It is just the KW software stuff. So if you didn't even know how to do an open house, look at that.
Wow. Choosing the best day and time, and that gives you some best practices, creating an eye-catching and informational flyer. It's going too fast.
I know.
A registration sheet to capture information. So y'all aren't
Yeah.
gonna need me
So
anymore. Chat GPT, I guess.
So that has been added. It is still being learned. They'll throw a lot more at mega leadership next week for us, and we'll be able to share with you. But this is a game changer because anything you need is right there. And it's
Pretty
just,
cool.
it's this little thing. It actually looks like the Cox Health symbol. So it's like ER. If you need triage, you go to this thing.
It's your magic wand. Just like if you're using campaigns and stuff, then there is a little magic wand and you have your magic sparkles.
You're Disney. You should have known that.
And that's right. And when you need an answer quick, that's what it's about. Okay, let me get back to full screen here.
Don't forget that I do have tech office hours in the mornings on Monday mornings at 10. I am not teaching that much this month or this upcoming month because there's just a lot that we wanted to pack in. So please come see me at 10 a.m. on Mondays, or you can also schedule your consults with me one-on-one if you want help.
Yeah, come down early on Mondays at 9 a.m. for the Monday Morning Madness for lead gen. We're
Okay,
getting appointments.
Yep.
So.
yeah, the more you plug in, you're gonna be more productive. You've got to be involved with stuff because that's gonna make the difference in this market we're in. Okay, last week with Carrie Works was incredible, and you learned how to do a buyer strategy session. I saw something this week that I want to share with you all. So look at this. It's what Shannon and I are gonna do. This is what you see here is gonna be a conversation you need to have with your sellers, okay? Shannon's my buyer. Last week I did a strategy session with her. I've got her signed up. She understands our employment agreement, all that. So now I've come back together with her because I'm getting ready to go show her houses, okay? So watch what's probably gonna happen once we get past the lawsuit stuff. Hey, Shanna.
Hey, what are we looking at today?
Well, so I went through all of your lists, you know, the 100 question I asked you, and I found 5 homes that I think match exactly what you're looking for.
Perfect.
Yep, so there's one on Main Street, one on Bellhurst, Shady Glen, Valley View, and Cherryvale.
Oh, okay, perfect.
So here's the thing, before I got them scheduled, I want to check with you. The one on Main Street, Bellhurst, and Valley View are all offering to cover all of my commission, the full amount.
Great.
The one on Shady Glen, which it has a great deck like what you're wanting for, they're only gonna offer to cover 1% of the commission, so you would have to be able to cover the other 2. And the one on Cherryvale is only 1.5%. So I want to visit with you before I schedule these. I know that puts you in a bind financially. Do you want to see all 5 of them, or do you just want to go with the 3 that you know are gonna cover the cost?
Let's just go with the 3.
Okay.
Let's go with the 3.
Because I knew getting the down payment and closing costs was gonna be tight anyway.
Yeah,
So that will, okay, so I'll just mark those off of the list for you.
okay.
That's what's gonna happen, okay? I never thought of it from the buyer's side of how they're gonna see this. And as you sit with your sellers, that's the idea you need to have, okay? It's not, the buyer's agent's not gonna show things. We're gonna take care of our people. But the buyer's gonna have to make a financial decision on whether they can afford to buy that house. So they're probably not even gonna look at it, okay? I saw that from somebody this week. I thought, I wanna share that with you real quick. So when you're having your listing consultations, make sure you're explaining to them, if we don't offer enough, only the buyers that can afford it are gonna come look at your house.
So we're limiting that buyer pool, which
Yeah.
we'd never want to do.
So how's it, since it's not gonna be written on the MLS sheet, how is it gonna, how?
I would have had to call every agent ahead of time unless it goes to a website. We don't know how that's gonna work out.
Yeah.
But-
Even with nothing being completed and approved, we
Right.
just don't
Yeah.
know at this point. So
But,
best guess is
but
that
it
we
hit
call
me,
ahead.
you're gonna have to find out for your buyer's sake, because they need to know how much extra they're gonna have to have there. So anyway, that was a great eye opener I saw this week. We got through all of it in about 32 minutes. So now we're here to our main thing of the day. ADHD is your superpower with Tyler Elstrom. Tyler is an ADHD real estate coach with 9,000 plus individual coaching calls on thriving real estate using ADHD as an advantage. Tyler also co-built a real estate team doing 300 plus closings per year. Prior to real estate, worked in a clinical mental health for 4 years, focusing on those with multiple diagnoses, including ADHD, anxiety, depression, and PTSD. And I look around, that's most of you in the room. So Tyler, let's welcome Tyler first of all.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
We're gonna try and pin your picture, but do you want screen share, or what would you like to?
So I just like to talk, because then we got the good flow to it. So you can turn off the slide there, and then we can do the speaker view, and then I'll do my thing.
I will do that, just so you all know, in here, there's a little delay, so his mouth will not be, it'll look like Muppet things a little bit.
Okay. Okay. So am I good to go? Okay, there we go.
Good to go.
Everybody- Okay. Okay. Great. Hey, well, thank you so much for having me, and thank you, Mike, for giving a platform for this. As he said, I've been a MAPS coach with KW for over 6 years now. I work with the top 2-3% of agents in the company with ADHD, especially done some big things, top 100 team in the world for KW. And I still had like imposter syndrome and thought that something was wrong with me and I didn't have a name for my diagnosis. And then, you know, this thing that I was hiding that I thought was gonna, you know, be embarrassing turned out to be, as I learned about it, the thing that really created my career and is the reason I was able to do some big things. So about 7 months ago, I started the KW ADHD community, which I'll drop that in the chat right now. And we are, just by word of mouth, we're almost at 3,500 members, and it's a very active group. We get it's about 10 posts a day of agents with ADHD. And so what we're finding is that there's a huge prevalence in real estate. Maybe about 50% of agents have ADHD is the reports we're getting from leadership. And so today, you know, why this matters and why Mike had me here is, and I'm going to start with this, is that we actually did a small sample survey in the top 200 agents in Keller Williams. Small samples, so we're going to get a bigger one. And what the responses were is that over half had ADHD. In the top 200 in the world for Keller Williams, over half had ADHD from this survey that we did. And when we look at people who changed our world, I'll tell you, Albert Einstein had ADHD, dyslexia, and autism. Walt Disney had ADHD. Picasso had ADHD and dyslexia, and that's why his paintings were so unique, because he would flip around the image in his mind and paint it that way. Michael Jordan, Richard Branson, billionaires, the founder of Facebook. And so why is there stigma, right? And so what I want to talk about today, I'm going to do about 20 minutes of content, and we'll do about 10 minutes of questions and kind of conversation. First, I want to tell you what ADHD is, because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and 80% of people with ADHD are undiagnosed. I want to talk to you quick about the 3 types, especially the type that's more common in women, that's very often undiagnosed. And then the 10 like superpowers we have, the 10 beneficial ways that it can show up in real estate. And if you don't have ADHD, you will probably have clients who have it, or you will probably have a spouse or a kid or a family member or a friend or a lender that you work with, or just coworkers. And so whether you have ADHD or not, what we're getting from the feedback on this is that it's really helpful. And then recruiting. Oh my gosh, we have team leaders using this to recruit because no other brokerage has KW ADHD and what's going on with that. So first off, what is ADHD? So there are 4 parts of the brain that develop differently. And so it's not just a thinking thing. It's not laziness. It's not whatever. Literally, the brain develops differently, and it can be a difference in how also our dopamine, our norepinephrine, our neurochemicals are regulated. Where essentially on brain scans to certain stimulus, our brain doesn't light up as much to certain stimulus as our neurotypical people without ADHD. And then for other things, what we call the acronym INCUP, which stands for Interesting, New, Challenging, Urgent, and Passion. INCUP, Interesting, New, Challenging, Urgent, Passion. Our brains light up way more than someone without ADHD, and that's why we can hyper focus and lock onto things and do some really incredible things and be passionate. And so that's really what ADHD is. It's a difference in how our brain is wired. There are 3 types of ADHD. So the first one is the hyperactive type. Have you ever heard of like the restless boy that can't sit still in school, right? More impatient. You see them tapping their pen or their foot, or, you know, in your trainings, maybe having to stand up at the back of the class maybe, or just getting restless, step outside. That's because our brains can be understimulated. Impulse control. So that's the hyperactive type. That's more common in men. I have MAPS clients that are females that have it though too. It's just more prevalent in men. And then we have the second type, which is the inattentive type. So this is more common in women. So you take all that outside energy the hyperactive type has, and you turn it inward. So the body is calm, but inside is this internal chatter that never quiets. And it's often misdiagnosed as anxiety, bipolar. We have multiple people in our community who are on lithium for bipolar and they didn't have it. Anxiety, depression, but the meds don't work. The meditation doesn't quite work. The anxiety meds don't quite take care of it. You can forget details, trouble staying focused, problems organizing, a messy workspace, brain fog or memory issues, trouble managing time, what we call time blindness, where we have trouble gauging how long things take or how long it's been, losing things. So that's the inattentive type in short. And then the third type is the combined type. So that's a mix of both. 75% or more of people with ADHD have a combination of both. So I have about 70% of the hyperactive, 30% of the inattentive. So those are the three types. And here's what's really interesting, because I want to go into a little bit more about the gifts. And I do a call every week that the group votes on the topic. So if you want more, join in the Facebook group, because we go over all kinds of stuff, and I do research on that and everything. So those are the three types. And when we go into the beneficial ways it can show up in real estate, why this is important is because studies show that we get 20,000 negative messages about our behavior by the age of 8 with ADHD. 20,000 negative messages about our behavior. And so it's very natural for us to have lower self-esteem, or to what we call mask. So we want to mask our symptoms or hide our symptoms so people don't know that we have it. We try to be extra early so we're not late. We might overthink things over and over again to just like not forget stuff. We might slow our speech patterns down. So with ADHD, it's also known as abundance of thoughts. So studies show we have 10 times the amount of thoughts as someone without ADHD, which again, as we get into the gifts, that's an entrepreneur, right? You have 10 times the amount of thoughts. And so it's really important with ADHD to do two things. One, we want to look at the traits that might be challenging and get tools in place for those. And then two, we also want to really lean into what the gifts are. So I want to tell you quick as to like why ADHD exists as well before we get into the 10 gifts, because I think this is going to make a lot more sense as well. So what they did is they studied remote villages in Africa, because ADHD is genetic. So if you have ADHD, you have a 50% chance that your kid has ADHD. And then actually the stat reverses as well. So if you have ADHD, there's a 50% chance your parents have ADHD. So they studied these remote villages in Africa, and they found villages that had no prevalence of ADHD. And then they studied the villages that had a huge prevalence of ADHD. And what they found is that the villages with ADHD thrived over the ones that didn't. And here's why. For ADHD, we can have less dopamine. So we can have less dopamine than our ADHD friends, which means we actually do really well under pressure and chaos. So if there's a car accident, as long as it's not mine, right? I'm going to go over there and say, hey, you call 911, I'm going to sit with you, handle this, let's get them away from here, right? We're going to be really calm under pressure. And so when these villages were starving or facing a famine, we were the ones that would go hunt the lion. And we can have less impulse control, we're less risk averse, we're really good under pressure, we can hyper focus, we can lock on. We actually sometimes forget, if you've done this, forget to eat or drink water during the day when you're selling real estate. You forget what time it is. It's 10 p.m. at night and you got your sunglasses on your head. We can hyper focus. And so we were the ones that would go hunt the lion for 3 days and be less risk averse and stay calm, where people without ADHD, their dopamine would spike too much and they'd freak out. So we'd come back and we'd rescue the villages and bring them food. And we would also, if anybody's got sleep stuff, a lot of us do, they found that we were actually the ones who would stay awake at night and watch for danger and be on the night watch. So you take this lion hunting, incredible, villager that's, or just person, right? That's great under pressure, that can kill a lion. And then you take us and we put us in front of a computer and say, okay, time block for 2 hours and do this detail-oriented work and say this exact script and do this, thing and just sit still. Like, no wonder we have issues, right? No wonder that can be challenging. And so what's really important is to not have a negative message about ourselves, and instead understand how incredible it is and define, like, what's your lion, right? In your lead generation, what is your lion? It might be something totally different than you thought of, and yet you can hyper focus and lock on. And it might be an in-cup, that interesting, new, challenging, urgent, and passion. And then you can do that 3 or 4 times longer than someone without ADHD. So that's why they think ADHD exists. That's one of the theories. And now I want to go into like 10 of the gifts, because when I've been studying these agents who have ADHD and coaching them, that are in the top 200 in the world for Keller Williams, there's a theme. There's certain things that we're seeing. So the first one, and you, if you have this, you have this as well. The first one is self-awareness, high self-awareness. And what that does is that actually what we're finding is that like our conversion rates are typically takes us half the amount of time to make the same amount of appointments. And that's what we're finding just statistically. Not that people without ADHD don't have high conversion rates, some of them, just as a demographic in coaching, what I found is for one person, and this is the study we did with MAPS a couple of years ago, it takes 120 contacts, 120 two-way conversations for one closing. 120 conversations for one closing. My clients average about 60. So my ADHD coaching clients, it takes them 60 contacts for one closing. So it takes half the amount of time. So high self-awareness, and this can also be a silver lining to maybe feeling like maybe there's some criticism or people judging our behavior, or kind of doing a deep dive and really self-reflecting. It could be really humbling for us growing up and feeling a little bit different. And so on the flip side, we get this incredible self-awareness that we get to keep as adults, you know? So that's number one. Number two is the abundance of thoughts. So I talked about that. We have 10 times the amount of ideas. We can be fast talking, fast processing. So have you ever heard of that with ADHD? Like, oh, squirrel, like has anybody been told that or heard about that? So what that is, it's when you're in a meeting or something, you're having a conversation, what's happening is we're processing so fast. So it's not that we're just all over the place and haha, like floaty. No, we're already on step 8 and that person's probably still on step 1 because we process so fast. It's like sometimes people in our community, it's like they know you're two or three words in, we already know what the sentence is going to be because we process so fast. So it's, again, we want to reverse that like shame and say, oh my gosh, it's not squirrel and kind of this thing that's wrong with me. I'm just processing so fast. I'm step 8. And then we might just like pull it back and go back to step 1 so we can communicate well with the person we're with. Next thing, number 3 is creativity. So I said a little bit earlier, we can have impulse control, like less impulse control. The flip side to that though is creativity. So a lack of impulse control actually directly correlates to being more creative, and they've done studies on that as well. And so we can see things differently, especially if you have a learning disability like dyslexia or dysgraphia or dyscalculia. We have really incredible ideas. We have so many thoughts. We think outside the box. And so that high creativity, right, when we look at Walt Disney, I mean, if you think of that, when he was, before Walt Disney was Walt Disney, you know, and probably he was sitting there drawing mouse with a bow on its head, like a talking mouse in a skirt, but no shirt. And people are like, what is wrong with you? Weird, right? And then, oh my gosh, it's Minnie Mouse. And so a lot of times at first people might not get it. And then, you know, we have these really amazing ideas. So that creativity is there. Number 4, energy and passion. If you can't tell, we can go all day. We forget to eat. We forget to drink water. We can talk about that thing forever. We get super excited, where almost like for some people, they just get tired, you know, pretty quickly. And we can just go, as long as it's an in-cup, that interesting, new, challenging, urgent, and passion, we can go all day on that thing. And so what we're finding too is clients, when you go on an appointment, a listing appointment, and people can feel your passion or your energy, it's really inspiring. People are drawn to us. They really are, because of that energy and passion. And then number 5 is that hyper focus. We can lock in on that one thing. It's kind of, as they explain ADHD, it's kind of the brain of extremes. So we can swing from understimulated to overstimulated multiple times throughout the day. And so we can be understimulated where it almost feels boring. And then we can go the flip side, and it's like we forget the world exists. And so it's kind of that brain of extremes in a sense. So again, it's not bad, it's just different. And so we really want to be aware of how it shows up so we can lean into it. And as they say, not judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree. We want to get in water, we want to glide, and we want to flow. And that's what the top agents with ADHD are doing that are in the world. So that hyper focus, locking in on one thing. If you have not gotten your lead generation into your hyper focus, it's going to be way harder. So think about how to tie that into something that's an in-cup, like I said, or a passion. Just as an example, I have a client who just sitting at a desk making calls. She's super hyperactive. Just sitting there making calls is not going to work for her. What she does, though, we still have to hit the goal. The goal doesn't care, right? We care, but our goal doesn't care whether it's hard for us or not, if you still want your goal. So what we've done with her is on the weekend, she loves vintage shopping. So she goes to garage sales and she gets 1 or 2 listing appointments every single weekend. And she just goes to garage sales and talks to people in vintage shops. I have someone else who sends out lottery tickets every single month, and her lead gen is asking people if they won or if they want to go to Hawaii with her, if they're going to take her to Hawaii. So it doesn't have to be a set way. We can be flexible with how we get there. The goal we're not going to be flexible with, right? But how we get there doesn't really matter as long as we get there. I have someone that ties it with mountain biking, and the events are going mountain biking together and building community in a Facebook group. So again, we want to tie lead generation, which is the most important activity, to hyper focus. And then this goes into the number 6, which is generosity and empathy. So very giving, very altruistic, very philanthropic demographic as a whole. When we have something we believe in or cause, one of the agents that I've been working with and studying has with ADHD, she did over 4.6 million in gross commission just last year, and they gave back over $636,000 to charity. So when we talk about ADHD as a superpower, what kind of difference does $636,000 do? She created her name's Sheena Sadam, by the way, and she's in our group and will be on sometimes. But they created a truck for showers for homeless people. So they would drive to where there were homeless people, and they would give them a hot shower and let them bathe in this mobile truck. And on top of giving $636,000 away, just incredible human beings. Number 7 is this intuitiveness and sensitivity. So we can pick up on things, we can understand emotion, we can be hypersensitive to sounds, to textures, to scents. So sometimes that can be overwhelming, especially in an office setting. If there's a lot of noise, we're getting overstimulated. And at the same time, we can pick up on little nuances that other people can't. Like, hey, let's say we're in the jungle hunting a lion, and we can hear subtle things, and we can pick up on subtle scents and textures and the way the air smells and what the energy feels like. So it's really this adaptation that we have that's incredible. And so we just want to utilize that in a way that benefits it. And number 8, calm under pressure. We're good last minute. We're calm under chaos. We can handle more stress and more discomfort. And so when you look at an entrepreneur, isn't an entrepreneur about, being uncomfortable sometimes, or handling stress, or handling the unknowns? So we're really calm under pressure. Where other people might shut down, we can stay calmer longer. Number 9, risk tolerance and courage. So we are more likely to take risks. We just are. And that can be sometimes good, or actually it can be really, really good. And if they're not calculated, it's not great. So we really want to just add that little bit of calculation to it. But that's why we have so many billionaires that have ADHD, like Richard Branson, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk. Those are just three of our billionaires. There's a lot more. So high risk tolerance, and yet we have the self-awareness. We have the incredible thoughts. We're very creative. We get energy and passion. We're inspired, and we can hyper focus on that thing and forget even what time it is and stay on it longer. We're generous. We're empathetic. We're intuitive. Right? Do you see how this is just this perfect recipe for an entrepreneur? And then lastly, we have number 10, which is authenticity. We can't do fake. It's a lot harder for us to do fake. Scripts that feel fake can be a little bit harder for us. So it's okay to adapt slightly as long as you're keeping the integrity of the script. Because for some people, if we don't do that, they literally can't. It doesn't matter if they have to send a $500 check to something. It's like they can't. And so that authenticity, though, people feel. I think you guys can feel like I'm being really real because I just can't. It's not, it will just drain me. It's just, we've got to be real. We've got to be authentic. We have a lot of people who are also on the autism spectrum. And so it's even more so with that is it's just literal and honest. And so it's this thing that you immediately create trust in your customers because they can tell that you care about them. And so those are 10 ways that it can show up in real estate. High self-awareness, high abundance of lots of thoughts, lots of ideas, very creative, high energy and passion, hyper-focusability, generous, empathetic, intuitive, sensitive, calm under pressure, high risk tolerance, courageous, and very authentic. So you can see now why we have over half of the agents in the top 200 in the country have ADHD. It really is a superpower. It really is a special, incredible thing. And now it's about just honoring that in our brains and knowing how our brains work and getting in our joy zone, getting in income. And I've seen people double, triple, quadruple their business in a year or two. I had one client that went from 250,000 to over $1 million in GCI in 2.5 years. And it's just by leaning into, you know, how your brain works. So that's so I'll drop that in the chat if you want to be a part of that. You do not have to have ADHD to be in our community. You don't have to have a diagnosis to do that. You could be an ally. You could be curious. The thing with ADHD is that people without ADHD can experience what we experience sometimes, whereas we experience it all the time. And so there might be stuff in there that's just helpful for you if you don't have ADHD. And we also talk about executive function, which some people think is procrastination, but really it's executive function, where it's not, your brain's not engaging in the same way for a certain task unless we do some tools around it. So the procrastination way is not really going to work. But if we treat it as executive dysfunction, which is some people argue what ADHD is, then it will. So my point is everybody's welcome in that. We have an incredible community of people. And so we'd love to have you and be a part of that. So before I go into questions, what I'm going to say lastly too, is that I am so passionate about this and I'm so hyper-focused on this that in a month, I am moving full-time into a camper. And I'm going to be traveling the country because we've had so many requests for trainings in person, speaking events, podcasts. And so I'm committing full force because 76% of our members are women with the average age of about 40 and 80% are undiagnosed. So we've had just countless people come and say it saved their marriage, that saved their life. They finally got a diagnosis. They cried because of how much better it was once they really got a name for things. And so, yeah, this is a hyper focus. So I will be having a link to sign up and reserve a spot. And I will share that with Mike if that's something you guys want to do. And for now, join the Facebook group. And I just appreciate you guys learning and being aware. And I trust this was helpful. So I'm going to open it up for questions now or conversation. And then we'll go from there.
Good, because I got lots of questions. Okay, sorry, that fell. So Tyler, how do we slow ourselves down when we're dealing with somebody that isn't that way? What's because, I mean, I feel like sometimes I'm like, would you get to the point? How do we help our clients so that they're, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So there's a couple things there. So one, I think sometimes when you're interviewing a client, when you're doing lead gen and your lead generation's in InCup or something you enjoy, then depending on how slow they talk, you might want to refer them out and get a referral fee if you think you're going to pull your hair out. If you're not going to do that and you want to work with them, then what's really happening with that is that our brains are understimulated. A lot of us are just understimulated. That's why the internal chatter. It's like when we fidget, and I've got fidget toys I've been having here. I can be very hyperactive. Is that our brain's just trying to regulate itself, and that's all it's trying to do. And so then, if we don't allow ourselves to fidget, that's when we can get more anxiety because the energy has to go somewhere. And if we don't allow it to come out of our body, then it can go more to our head. So I would say a couple things. One, just practical. If there's a way, what we call just allowing yourself to fidget. And if you can't do it visually, some people scrunch their toes. They might squeeze certain muscles. They might, if it's over the phone, you might have a standing or a walking desk. So really what the brain is trying to do, it's trying to regulate itself. So if there's a way to satisfy that hyperactive part in a way that isn't like visually disruptive to that person, that's the first thing I would say. Just off the bat. And then also if there's a way to link into the hyper focus, if there's a way to kind of link into that part of your brain, just listening really, really intensely on what's not being said and look for the little details. And because again, our brain's hungry, we're curious. So that's what I would say first off. Is that helpful?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Jumping on that, and you'll see I'm all over the place here too. What you said something hit 2 hours of lead generation. I'd rather stab myself in the eye. Okay, what are ways to get that done? Because we got to lead generate. I mean,
right.
We can't use it as an excuse what is the best ways to get to the next level and still get in touch with your people?
Yep. So that's such a good question. And yeah, if you're attempting to do a type of lead generation and it's that exhausting, that's not the type for you. There are thousands, that's such a good question. Like there are thousands of ways to lead generate. It doesn't have to be over the phone. It could be text, it could be Facebook Messenger, it could be Instagram, it could be YouTube, it could be just going out in person. So I would say, if there's a way to find lead generation that really like fits something, it could be open houses, it could be FSBO expired because there's the challenging element. So I would look at that. If you want, I can send you, I have a list of 105 lead generation ideas. So what I have people do is first go through and just cross out the ones that sound terrible. It's like this huge list. You just first cross up all the ones that you're like, no. And then you're gonna underline the ones that, maybe would be okay. And then you're gonna go back through and put a star by like the top 3 or 5. So I can send that out. So I would say 1, that, 2, if you just hate it, that's not the one for you. And then the other thing is we also want to integrate that in-cup while we're doing it. So let's say you have to do it and it's just what you're choosing to do. So that's where we're going to make things more interesting or new. And so you might go do it from a different coffee shop every day, or you might do what's called body doubling, which is a technique for ADHD, which it's that concept. If somebody's there, it can kind of bring in that urgent part of your brain and kind of engage it and make it light up. So it's similar to if, like, let's say you just struggle to clean your house for weeks. You just can't make yourself and you feel really frustrated. And then your friend is saying, hey, actually, can I stop by in about 2 hours and come say hi? And you're like, sure. And then boom, you clean the house in 2 hours, right? It's that other person there. So body doubling is really helpful. In KWAHD, I have a Zoom room that's open 24/7 called the Body Double Zoom Room. It's just for KWAHD, and we have a chat. So people go in there and coordinate every day to go work on stuff. They'll clean their house together. They'll do lead gen together. They'll just do taxes together. And this is all free, by the way. KWAHD is 100% free. I don't want a barrier to access for resources. So body doubling is really good. Finding a lead source that you like. Door knocking, if you like that, again, we're moving. We want to stimulate the brain so then the dopamine kind of comes to baseline. Otherwise, we're going to do that. So I could keep going on this. I don't want to go too much. Tell me if that's helpful.
That list would be great if you can send that to us.
Yep, I'll send that to you.
Wim online asked, is there an online test or one you would recommend for ADHD diagnosis?
Yeah, so what I would say is go to an ADHD center or a nurse practitioner or somebody, which I can, I'll send some resources over for you as well and the notes from today. So you want to go to an ADHD center. If you're choosing to get diagnosis, a lot of times people do that because they want meds. And so if you're getting meds, go through an ADHD center or a nurse practitioner who gets ADHD meds. You can even get genetic testing, which is what I got, to figure out which ones have more or less side effects, which ones are more or less effective. And you want somebody who can listen to how your symptoms show up. Because my big one is emotion regulation. I can swing from happy to sad to moody to anxiety to panic to then calm. And so some of them might work for more emotion regulation plus the focus, and then other ones are more for, mood or just focus or whatever. So yeah, I can send that.
Okay. And in-cup, interesting, new, and then I got distracted. What's the CUNP?
Yep. Interesting, new, challenging, urgent, and passion. Interesting, new, challenging, urgent, and passion. You want to tie your life and your business into those, and you want to leverage everything else out, because the other stuff is going to drain your fuel tank, whereas the stuff in in-cup is gonna increase your energy. That's where you have more energy at the end of the day than when you started. Get your business into in-cup. Get your life into in-cup. Leverage stuff out. You hate cooking food, get a meal service. You hate doing laundry, you hate cleaning, get a cleaner. It's not a luxury, it's an accommodation, because you're losing money doing it yourself, because it probably takes 5 times as long, and you can go lead gen.
Yep. Any other questions in the room?
Love that.
Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah.
Okay. My main slide, I loved ending everything with, what are your action items? What have you learned from today?
I'm okay. Nothing's wrong with me.
Exactly. I think too many times we use it as an excuse to say, well, I can't do this. Actually, we can do more. I also like the idea that there's a lot of people out there that are other agents that may need this help, keep that in mind as you're talking with other people.
Yeah. Can I throw in how to know if it's an excuse or not? Like an analogy?
What's that?
Can I throw in a way to know whether using ADHD is an excuse or not?
Absolutely.
Okay, so quick analogy on this. Imagine someone who's 5'5", okay? And you have someone that says, hey, 5'5" person, I want you to reach over there on the top shelf and grab that thing that's on the top of that 8-foot shelf. And the 5'5" person walks over and says, I can't, right? That's an excuse. I can't. However, if that 5'5" person says, I can, and I need a step stool, I can, and here's how I'm going to do it a little bit different. I can, and here's the tool. That's not an excuse. And so you can do anything with ADHD. It's just, what is the tool? What is the ladder that you need? What is the step stool? But just telling them to reach up and grab it without any tools, well, that's not fair, right? So we want to allow the room for us to get that tool, but also not say we can't do it at all, if that makes sense.
Very cool. All right, let's give Tyler a round of applause real quick. Online is Evan Van Ostren. Evan, we're praying for you. We're thinking about you. Glad to see you're there. Let us know if we can help with anything. He had a little medical episode last week, so he's just been in our thoughts and prayers, and we're glad to see you online. Next week is Red Day Prep, because it's coming up soon. Please make sure and pick up your shirts, get signed up, do the waiver. Everybody, thanks for being here. You like that? You like my waiver? Have an awesome week. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being online. We'll see you next week.
I wish that were good for you.